So one thing that I always heard in the manifestation and spirituality space is the idea or the law of detachment, and the whole idea that if you want to manifest something, you want to bring something into reality, you conjure up the idea of the thing that you want, you get the vision, you get the feeling, you live in the end of already having that thing, and then you detach from the results. You don't care, you forget about it, you move on in your life as if you already have that thing. And for me, for the longest time, this made no sense because I was like, if I really care about this thing, if I have this like big idea of like making $10,000 out of nowhere, making like a shit ton of money with my business, how am I supposed to like detach from that? Like that idea excites me. That's something I'm going to think about all the time. How am I supposed to just detach from that result? And it never made sense to me until this last week, last few weeks, when a few things happened to me that were so weird that I'm going to share with you, and that made perfect sense in of like the whole idea of detaching from the things if you want to bring them into reality. And then after, I have a little challenge, I have a little game that you get to play that I think you should try and play with the universe and see if it works with you. So, so last night I'm like so last night I'm sitting there, and for some reason out of nowhere I got the idea of one of my friends who I haven't talked to, I haven't seen in like over a year at this point, and for some reason he came into my mind, and I was like, I might text him sometime soon and like ask him to hang out, like see when he's home. Like I've been super busy lately and I'm super busy the next few months, but I'll maybe text him sometime and see if he wants to hang out, because I'm good friends with him, but we don't really like talk anymore. And I thought about it for like 5 minutes, and then I let go. And and then I like the thought came in and then it went out. I completely forgot about it. I just moved on with my night. I went to bed, and this morning I woke up and he texted me. I haven't talked to him in over a year, and he just asked me. He told me he was home. He wanted to hang out. He asked me to hang out, and I haven't talked. Yeah, like I said, I haven't talked to him in over a year. I don't text like anybody, and I was like, oh, isn't that fucking weird, dude? You think about something, I let go, I didn't care, and the next day it came into fruition. So here's another really weird one, really quick. So a few months ago, me and my friends were like skating at this like indoor skate park, and this girl came up who I met like one time a really long time ago. I met her like one time, so I had an idea of what she looked like in my head when we were talking about her. And me and my friends, she got brought up for like 5 minutes for some reason, and I kind of like thought about her for a little bit. It was, and then I moved on. I completely forgot about it. And then 2 weeks later, I'm sitting there walking my dogs at a place in my town that I always walk my. There's literally most of the time I'm the only person there, and if there's anybody else there, it's like one or two other people, because like nobody knows about this place. And this girl that we were talking about before, she doesn't live like anywhere near me at all. And again, I saw her one time like skateboarding somewhere like very far away, like nowhere around like my area where I live. Anyways, I'm walking my dogs at kind of like a random time that I don't usually. Something was going on that day, and I was like, I rushed, I had to take them there, like out of my schedule of what I'd normally do, I guess. And I'm walking into the woods, and I see somebody walking out, and I just said hi to them, like not even thinking of it, like I'd do to anybody. And then she walked by, and I was like, oh, that was that girl that we were talking about a few weeks ago. And in the moment, I like didn't even think about it, but I was like, 100%, like I totally thought about that girl, and then there she is in real life. And I can look back in my life for like the last 21 years of my life, how many times that happened again and again and again that I would just call a coincidence, until you can look back and realize how many coincidences do you need until you realize something's going on here. So the reason I want to share that story is because I think the reason those things happen, especially something as simple as you thinking about somebody and then you seeing them the next day, I think that's like one of the easiest things you can do to like test reality and see how this stuff works, because it's very easy to detach from the simple idea of seeing somebody, right? So that's what I want you to do. There's a little fun game that you can play. Think about somebody, whoever it might be. Don't make it such a super important thing. Maybe somebody you haven't talked to in a while. Think about that person. Imagine them texting you. Imagine seeing them in like a weird place. Let go of that idea and then see what happens. And you don't even need to look for anything. Just literally think about them. Imagine them texting you and see what happens. Because that's, I think, how reality really works and how you can really manifest things. But of course, we're always manifesting everything in our life. So the reason I brought that up, because I think when you want to manifest something bigger in your life, it becomes a lot more difficult to detach from those things. And I realized the other day the only reason it's difficult is because what I just said. You sit there and you say it's bigger. You sit there and put something on a pedestal above like everything else. So for me, it was always like money, making like a certain amount of money in a month, having like a successful business. I would always make that a big thing. I would always make that like some giant goal in my life that's like, I put it up here, I put it above myself, I put it not on the equal line of everything else in the world. But the truth is, manifesting somebody that you want to see that you don't even care about to making $1 million fucking, they're on the same plane. Do you think the universe, God sits there and says, all right, let me make a fucking ranking of all the things that ever exist that humans can manifest. Let me put one above the other. No, they're all on like the same playing field. But the problem is of course ourselves, and the fact that we sit there and we put something on a pedestal, we put it above ourselves, we give power to that thing, and we don't put it on like the equal line that everything else in this world sits on, because that's what it truly, everything is the same that you want to bring into reality. And I think some things like might take more time, but like the actual what they actually are completely equal to each other in terms of what you can actually manifest. It's just our own human mind that sits there and puts one thing above the other thing and makes it more difficult for ourselves to bring that thing into reality. And isn't it funny? The friend who I was talking about just texted me back as I'm making this video. So I realized, so I'm gonna, and then, so there's another thing. The time more recently where I actually started making like a lot of money in my business, or like a lot for me at the time, like moving to that next level, was when I really just stopped giving a fuck and I didn't put any importance on anything. I was just existing and doing the work and then seeing what happens, almost just being like a fucking scientist and doing my little test of maybe this will work, maybe that will work. And in the past with all my businesses, I always made it so important. I always put it on a pedestal. And when I'd hear detach from those things, it's like, how am I supposed to detach from something so big and so cool? But now I'm at a point where I like look at that and I'm like, of course I can make like $1,000, $2,000 in a day, $1,000 in a day, multiple days. That's completely normal. You can do that. So I think as humans, because we've had our entire lives of past conditioning of like putting different things at different points in our life, putting different things on pedestals. So I think you need to kind of get back to the point where you can understand everything's on the same playing field. From manifesting $10,000 to manifesting that person, it's all easy. It's all just a game. And then also being able to detach from those things. And I think to be able to detach from those things is to really just reduce the importance of them. And that is difficult at first, to reduce the importance of those things. But I think once you can do that, once you can really like have the feeling of like, oh, it really isn't that crazy to make $10,000. Like, that's really not a crazy thing to like make a bunch of extra money that will be able to help me in my life and my family or whatever. And whatever your goal is, whatever you want to bring into life, like sit there and look around and like find an example of somebody who makes a fucking $1 million in a day. Oh, if they can do it, so can I. And then again, reduce the importance of the things, put it at the same plane of everything else. And I think it becomes much easier to detach and really not care as much. Because I think that's like a big thing that I've realized. I think a big part of like this whole game is to just not care and to be able to, and not necessarily not care, but be able to relax and go with the flow of life. Because the more you look around, the more you realize like humans are one of the only species who are just so out of tune with the universe and with the world. And I think most of us, we like spend our entire lives trying to swimming upstream in a river when all you needed to do was let go and flow down that river, right? If that makes sense. So I think that's like one thing. So I think for me, that's one thing that helped a lot. And I think as you go on in your journey, as you go on in your life, the more magic that you see, the more things that come out of nowhere, that come out of like, that really are like magical and come into your life, the more your belief systems grow that anything is truly possible. Because because your beliefs are just things that you think again and again and again. So if you sit there and have a belief that $10,000 is a lot of money, or $100,000 is a lot of money to make in a month, or whatever your goal is, then you have just had the thought in your head throughout your entire life, and it's completely normal to have these thoughts, that thing is that you put that thing on a pedestal, that thing is far away, that you need to put in a lot of work to get that thing, or it takes 20, 30 years to, get that thing or whatever. And when you get these new ideas, you get new thoughts, and if you think those thoughts long enough, they become beliefs, and then those beliefs are the things that actually anchor you in your day-to-day life and how you move in the world and how you act and how you react to situations, and then that becomes your identity. So I think that's all this game really is destroying those old thoughts and creating new beliefs. And then in terms of what I'm talking about in this video, the law of detachment or whatever you want to call it, it's just reducing the importance of those things and being like, yeah, of course I have that. Of course I can get that. Of course I can do anything, right? Because if they can do it, I can do it, right? And so I'm about to finish. The one last thing I want to leave with whoever may be watching this video is to really just like calm down, dude, and just know who you are, know what you are, and move in the world from a place of knowing. And it's okay to have bad days. It's okay to have bad moments. It's okay to doubt yourself. It's only natural to doubt yourself. But under all of that, there must be something that sits there and has a deep knowing. There must be a part of you that has a deep knowing to what is going on here. And I realize when I'm having a bad day, I literally just, like I said, I just flow down the river, and if you fucking hit a couple bumps, that's normal. But you must relax, you must know, you must have like the internal true feeling of the infinite being that you actually are, and just be able to hold on to that, dude. That's like your fucking anchor that you can grab onto in your bad days. And you can know as you're trying to reach your goals in life, as you're trying to bring things into reality, you can have a deep knowing of who you are as a person. And you can have a deep knowing that anything is possible. And then as life goes on, these things become easier and easier, and you get better and better. And then before you know it, you'll have everything that you wanted and more. So how's that? How's that? I felt like that was a good video. But besides that, keep doing your best. I hope you have a phenomenal day.